Hello YouTube, flashlight enthusiast here. Sometimes instead of a fancy flashlight with multiple features, you just need a simple tool. This scenario is probably tactical operation when you need an on-off switch and one mode only. Armytek flashlights are known for their reliability and simplicity, and Dobermann Pro Max is one of such flashlights. And although I do not drop flashlights on concrete or die with them, I can tell from my own experience that this flashlight is built like a tank. I got this flashlight directly from Flashlight Go thanks to Bruce, and if you are interested, make sure to check out the link and coupon code below this video. Oh, and if you live in the US, Flashlight Go also has some Amazon stocks in the US for your convenient shipping. A pleasant surprise is the package that Dobermann Pro Max comes in. It is a plastic hard case with this nice picture of key stats, etc. And at the back you've got even more specs and description, and I really like this about Armytek is they are transparent about the step down. As you can see, we've got little 1 and 2 upper note, and here you've got your step down after 1 minute, after 3 hours and 10 minutes, and strobe will also step down. I really like the transparency, and you will see later in the review they are spot on with what I measured. It opens like this, and you get everything covered inside the package, including a manual, 18650 battery adapter, a dedicated magnetic charger, a pocket clip and 2 spare O-rings, hard silicone tactical ring, a paracord wrist lanyard, and last but not least, a dedicated holster with noise loops, D-ring made of metal, velcro, and there is also some additional pouch here that you can put some additional accessories or a backup flashlight. Nice! Before operating, make sure to screw down the tail cap so the flashlight can become operational. While fitting bezel down is possible, it is definitely a tight fit that I would recommend going still a bezel up. And now the fitting is much better. So the design of Dobermann Pro Max is truly simple. We've got this famous chalk-like anodization from Armytek that leaves some scratches but also absorbs the light quite nicely. As you can see, there's no shiny spots there, and this flashlight feels like it was built like a tank. We've got this massive cooling fins with slightly sharp edges, however build quality and finish is excellent on this one. Look at this black button. To make it even more discreet, the stainless steel bezel with some not very shiny markings of Armytek, white light, obviously the model, warnings about the hot surface and serial number. Here we've got some battery orientation, which is always nice, you know, to have it printed, and information about the magnetic charger, which actually comes in here. As you can see, the button, the tail button is metal with some silicone insert here that can be easily pushed either halfway or full. The click is silent, which is always nice, and there is a lanyard attachment here if you ask me. And this switch is also a magnetic charger connector, which I'll show you later. To access the battery, you need to unscrew the tail cap, and here a pleasant surprise, as usual in Armytek's, we've got double O-rings and thus this amazing waterproof rating to up to 25 meters, obviously well greased from the factory, although I would like to see a little bit more grease in my tastes. Here I've got quite long and thick spring gold plated. There is a dual tube design to allow electrical signal from the tail switch to the driver. And there's your 5000-21700 cell inside the package, flat top as you can see, and another thick spring down there, so shock recoil shouldn't be an issue here. And what is nice is that you don't have to unscrew the tail cap anymore to charge this flashlight, just plug in and you're good to go. Simple as that, and you wait for a green charging indicator to appear. It takes around 3 hours to fully charge the battery. And if you're curious about the size and weight, it weighs around 200 grams with the battery without any rings, pocket clips, lanyards, etc., which is 7.1 ounces. And size-wise, from my current collection comparing to Acebeam T37 next to TA30C Max or Sovereign SK30, it is quite slim and compact, comparable to other constructions. So the UI is plain and simple. We've got our tail switch for tactical momentary or constant on, so half press or full press, and when we double tap it, 1, 2, we've got our momentary or full on strobe, which is always nice. There is also a side button here, so we've got when you hold it and then click the tail switch, we've got access to the lowest output, which is not that low, however still you can walk with them, which is quite functional. And then one click will cycle between, again, going to turbo, main 1, main 2, so going up, and turbo again. So I don't realize and I don't understand this logic, why going from Firefly to turbo instantly, however maybe it is tactical related. Anyway, by default there is no mode memory, so when you lightly press or fully press the tail switch, it always comes in turbo output or double tap for strobe mode. However, you can disable that if you wish. All you need to do is, when the flashlight is on, you hold the side switch for 5 seconds to disable the strobe. As soon as you see the blink, there is no strobe shortcut, as you can see, so strobe was disabled. And if you wish to disable the mode memory, you hold the switch again, but for 10 seconds. So you have to wait for first blink for the strobe mode, and then you keep holding until you see the second blink. And now, as you can see, if we go into the Firefly and then we go into, let's say, main 1, so the lowest output in the loop, we turn it off, turn it on again, it goes back into the main 2 here, as you can see, and we go back in the turbo output. Now it goes without saying and without strobe mode. So it is optional, however it is hard to do it by accident, so it is really nice. Here are my lumen measurements for the Dobermann Pro Max. If you need more time, feel free to pause the video. So I've measured two highest outputs to show you how the flashlight behaves. So in turbo, so the highest output, you can expect around 43 seconds of runtime before a quick step down over the course of 15 seconds to around 1000 lumen level, with flashlight body achieving 50 degrees Celsius. Then, as you can see, we've got nice flat output regulation, so the flashlight maintains a constant brightness and it can sustain around 960 lumens with runtime of 2 hours and 17 minutes before step down to lower modes. With that, flashlight achieves actually 56 degrees Celsius. So the head is on the hotter side. Then you've got your main 2 mode, which is around 770 lumens at start, and we've got no step down here. We've got around 3 hours and 10 minutes of runtime before step down to lower modes to preserve your power. And here flashlight heats up to around 42 degrees Celsius, so warm but not too hot. I'm really glad that Armytek decided to use the SFT70 emitter. It is powerful, gives around 3000 lumens and is no prone to any thin shift, thanks it's a domeless emitter. As you can see on Opal measurements, it is closer to 7000 Kelvin and 60-ish CRI, but in tactical situations all that matters it is powerful and white. And the beam pattern is clean and nice, and I have to admit it penetrates the air really well. As a flashlight enthusiast, I have to mention this, I'm not a fan of Armytek reflectors, and while in case of Armytek Prime C2 Pro Max it was truly a disaster when it comes to beam pattern, the Dobermann Pro Max I can only spot one single black dot in the hotspot, which is still a shame and shouldn't be accepted for that price. But again, does it matter on a battlefield or in a life-death situation? I don't think so. So summing up this video, Armytek definitely delivered. It is built like a tank, it is tactical in a sense of simple user interface, on-off switch if you need that. But if you need more modes, there are somewhere else hidden, so it might also be useful for other forces than military. I really like the feel of this flashlight. This matte anodization on this chalk-like surface is really grippy without any knurling. And I also like the emitter choice with clean white beam. However, for God's sake, Armytek, please make your reflectors work. Much cheaper brands can do it perfectly fine, so can you. Well, according to my measurements, the specs are spot on and you really get the full flat regulation out of this driver, which heats up the flashlight quite well with this output. However, you have to accept the facts of physics. 800 lumens sustainable is still a great output, and if you need for momentary a little bit more, you have your 3000 lumen for a 30 to 40 seconds depending on external temperature. And the switch is just great. Unfortunately, you cannot tail stand this flashlight in this way, however I think the trade-off is fair, with silent and more durable than rubber switches. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, support the channel and not to miss any future videos that I release. If you have any questions or comments about this Armytek, please don't hesitate and leave them below this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.